So you can also direct the input and output of a command to a file using this greater than symbol. That's useful if you want to save the output of a command that normally is printed into your terminal into a file. So as an example, just run a ls L command here. Say I want to save that output to a file called, say, lsout put. Then see it doesn't print anything when I do that. However, it does write to this new file that it created, which just has the results of a simple ls command. You can also append to a file if there's already a file there and you just want to add something to the end of it using a command. So let's say I'll also do the output of lsl. Up there I just did ls with no arguments. Then if I cat that file, you see that it appended the lsl output without overriding what was already there. You can also input a file or the contents of the file line by line into a program using the less than symbol to direct basically in the opposite direction. This is usually useful for various programs that can take in input line by line. Do this a lot with SQL data, for example, like a MySQL command. You'll put in a file that's full of code for how to set up a database. So another useful thing is the pipe command, and this passes the output of the first command you type into a second command. So a really common way to use this is with, for example, WCL or GREP, which I'll explain these two commands. So WC is word count, and if you add that L, it'll be line count. So that just counts the number of lines in a file, or if you're passing the output of a command, it'll be how many lines are in the output of the command. So for example, let's use that ls command again, except this time I'll pipe it through WCL, and it says 5, and the reason it says that is because there are 5 items that are output with ls, and I know it doesn't have new lines here, but that's just kind of an oddity about how ls prints. Another really useful command is grep, which can be used to filter either the contents of a file or, again, the output of a command to only show lines that contain a given term. So, for example, let's say I want to do that ls command again, but I only want to see files or directories that have the word dir in them. Then I could do ls pipe to grep dir, and it only shows the 2 lines that have that pattern in them. You can also use grep directly on a file. So for example, if we wanted to do that grep dir on the ls output file I created earlier, just do grep dir ls output, and it only prints the lines in that file that have that matching pattern in them.